rebuilding our community with our community members. Take the hemp out of it, and that's already a great story. But then you add in that these are healthier homes. I mean, it's it really is just the perfect blueprint. And we've done that on the exterior, where we've met like a lime plaster up to a metal soffit or metal fascia or something that's underneath there, like the F trim, that if you're using a ventilated metal soffit or something, that's what we'll put. We'll put something in between there, some type of trim. We've used wood. We've used what is that AZEC stuff? I don't know if you guys are
Oh,
familiar
yeah,
with
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So just something, yeah, just I guess a barrier, or a blocker in between the two.
And
Um,
something to where, if you got lime plaster or something that'll last a long time in its expectation and something else that you might want to have to replace, you make it to where you're not going to tear up the lime plaster to take off the one trim board when it's time to
yeah,
paint or, do any type of service.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And that's the other thing with the lime plaster. With the exterior, so we did do one building, that shed, that demonstration shed. We did do the exterior plaster on that, and in our elements, I just don't think it's going to hold up that well. I think that's maybe why they've gone away from it in Minnesota, and even trying to find somebody to teach us that was very hard. That's why we had to have Jennifer and Tim come all the way from different parts of the country. We looked for people in the area, and nobody does that, and so I don't know if it's real practical for all of the houses to be interior and exterior done all the way like that. I just, we haven't done enough of it here,
Well,
or
going
here.
back to the concept is like that you might have a snowdrift, and then
Hmm.
I can tell you how high the snowdrifts are in South Texas, and that's 0 inches.
Yeah.
And then if typical to your climate that you'll have a 3 foot or a 4 foot up, that's about all you need to accommodate for. And then you can do the rest, and then you can do some real nice architectural features, like with something at the bottom, like a wainscoting or something like that, and then combine it in, or just go all with one thing. But you make sure that your situation is addressed and you know what the situation is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm thinking, like, if we're going to get up to scale, or, not just be doing one or two houses a year, I don't know if plaster is even practical, just because if we're doing these houses all across the state, if more people start doing them, then a lot more people are going to have to learn the lime plaster, which I doubt will happen, and so you would have to only find just the one crew to go around to all of these, kind of impossible. So I just think it's, yeah, to make it practical, I think we almost have to, finish them in whatever products we have available, whatever's local, really. And as far as we know, what Tim told us about historic lime plaster, which this is, it's different than what the guys that do actually plaster right now. They're going to Home Depot and just buying a bag of something, mixing it up with water, and putting it right on the wall. Whereas this is a lot more tedious and a lot more finicky, and it really is an art form, and so it's.
Yeah, there are key differences. If you don't know the differences, you can really create problems.
Exactly, and that's the thing, the DIYers, yeah, it's all fine for us to play around with your own house and stuff, but if you're a contractor building for people, you got to make sure that your product's going to last, and you're not having to come back and fix it right away, And if we plan on making 20 or 30 houses here, and then a couple years down the road we're having to go fix 20 or 30 exteriors of houses, it's going to be like, was this even the right route? Did this save us any money? And so we're looking at it as more for the whole community, not just like I'm building my forever home, and so I can take all the time in the world. I can do all these fancy things. You know, we're just trying to get more of our community members into better housing, and so
Yeah.
that's, you know. And then so this slide here, that one to the left is a video as well. It's just a drone footage of that. It was a 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom house. The bottom right corner, we went down to the block training, um, with Dion's blocks, down at Tina's place down in Denton, Nebraska.
Yeah,
That was
yeah, I saw
that
you
was
down there.
last summer. Yeah, yeah, you were there, and so yeah, that was last summer. That was our only experience with blocks, you know, and so I don't claim to be an expert in any part of hempcrete, but we definitely don't really know much of anything about blocks. You know, we've only been to that one training. I've watched quite a few videos. I watched Keith Bien's videos and his video, that his presentation, the one time where he actually showed how a lot of the blocks were going together. So that's about as far as we've done anything with blocks. We'd like to get into blocks. Blocks and prefabricated panels, I think, is the way to go in our climate as well, if we're going to make a difference. Because cast in place or even spray, you still got to wait for them to cure, you know. And so then it's just, we don't have that much time here in Minnesota to even wait for them to cure.
Yeah, you might have a 3-month building window to where you
Uh,
can do the install. By the time you take in the cure time, you got a really narrow window. Now you mentioned something, and I wanted to give you guys um, some accolades on just how you show up. There at Tina's, and then when y'all were at some of these other events, to when y'all come in, something as simple as getting these construction vests
yeah,
with the logo on it. You talked about having the actual building, which was an example that people can look at, and that's where you can share vision. But man, there's nothing like having a team jersey and showing up and looking like pros.
yeah.
And man, when y'all walk in, man, y'all are a presence. You're fluorescent, you're shiny, you're professional. It shows that you're there to work, but it shows that you're there as professionals. And then just having that branding, man, there at Tina's when y'all showed up with all those on,
Mhm.
that was awesome. And then that really lets you guys shine, instead of just showing up and whatever was clean in the laundry that day. That was something that was a powerful statement that you guys made. I think that's probably one simple thing that's a part of your testament to success, I think.
Yeah, well, thank you, and I got to give credit to our tribal council for that. You know, it goes from the top down. We kind of follow the lead there. You can see our tribal vice president in this bottom picture, all the way to the right there. So you know, he made the trip down there with us. He was hands on, getting right in there. Same with when we built the duplex. He was right there, hands on. You know, side by side with us. So I think that's the one thing that just puts us over the hump too, is that we have the leadership. You know, we have the tribal council's support behind us. Whereas we're a really small community. You know, we don't have a lot of acres. We probably shouldn't even be the ones trying to lead this charge. There's other communities that, you know, could really, you know, they could grow enough hemp on their acreage, you know, to supply the entire country pretty much. And so we're blessed that they've kept it going this long. I guess, you know, they could have pulled the plug so many times along the way, and I think that's what actually happens to anybody that's getting into the hemp industry. You know, there's just so many hurdles to get over. By the time you're even close to getting over the hump, it's like, you know, everything falls out. It's just hard to keep it going. And so for them to continue to invest in us, that's really what, you know, that's why we're doing it. You know, it's
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
what
those
we're
little
doing with
things,
the building side.
yeah, those
Yeah,
little
what we're
things
doing with
make a
the building.
difference.
Oh,
Oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
I was just saying what we're doing with the building side is really nothing special. You know, it's just five guys doing building. You know, we're just doing our job. And so it's, but the thing that's special about it is that we get to do our job, you know, that these guys are, you know, keep pushing forward, and we're just going to keep going, and they continue to support us. And that's really what the special thing about it is, because what we're doing, we're just building, we're just doing our job. We don't, I guess that kind of sets us apart as well. We're not making any profit off of these. We're not, like I do all of the ordering for the materials, and so I'm not jacking the prices up 20 to 30%. We're not subcontracting really any of the stuff out anymore, and so that's not getting increased in price. And so, we're just getting paid our hourly wages. We all show up to work every day. We all do our job, and it's really is as simple as that. And that's why I think it is the perfect blueprint, um, for any community. It doesn't have to be a tribal community. It's just
And
you
I,
you go.
um, when I talked to you in June, you said you had not had a day off in a year.
Yeah, oh yeah, we have not. No, we definitely do show up every single
Not like,
day,
oh,
and
look, anybody can do it. And oh,
yeah. Well,
oh,
yeah, and it does take a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. Like, these guys are workhorses. Like they're unreal. And so hats off to them. I think I get way too much credit, for this. It's really these guys that are just there every day doing their job. And so it's a team effort. Like I said, it goes from the top down to the bottom up. We all got to play our part. When we all do. And so I think that's we found a good, strong group of guys here in the community. And that's the other, like the big bright light on it is that we're all community members. We're rebuilding our community with our community members. Take the hemp out of it, and that's already a great story. But then you add in that these are healthier homes. It's really is just the perfect blueprint. And I think it needs to be, you know, used more in all around the country. There's like 580 tribes or something in the United States, and so there's a lot of work to be done. And